This is a big, heavy and cumbersome rig, but it is by far the best I have ever used for flash photography. I'm very excited to share some photos I have taken with this and explain why and how I built this giant rig, and also take you on some photo shoots that I have done recently with it. Okay, so a little bit of backstory here. I recently turned 33 and I am super nostalgic for the Terry Richardson style of photography that was always very popular on platforms like Tumblr. If you are a similar age, you will know what I'm talking about. I also loved the photography of the Cobra Snake, who shot a lot of parties in that kind of paparazzi style. There was a really distinct visual aesthetic to those times. It was overtly colorful and often quite provocative. The central ingredient for a lot of these images was direct flash, and for many years I have tried to emulate this look using a variety of methods, such as small point and shoots with built-in flash, using speed lights mounted on hot shoes, or built-in pop-up flash units. However, none of these tools or methods ever felt quite right. There was always something about the way the drop shadow fell too far to one side, and often the flash wasn't powerful enough. Recently, we were doing some research and we noticed that Terry Richardson was using a small bracket that allowed him to mount a speed light much closer to the lens than you can with the hot shoe. Whilst rummaging through our garage, we found an old press style bracket and tried mounting it on our D200 at an angle to try and emulate this, and whilst it's a bit clunky, it definitely worked. From the first few test shots, I was blown away. Finally, after a decade of experimenting and chasing this look, I feel like I'd finally found something that was nailing it. Over the last few weeks, I have been using this setup just with some of my regular local clients, and I could not be happier with the results. I'm so excited to use this more. So let's dive in and talk about these shoots, and I'll share the images with you. Firstly, I took this to a restaurant shoot. It's a little wine bar, and I have shot it before, but always on film because they specifically wanted that look. I was really excited to shoot this restaurant and see what it would be like using this new setup. And as you can see here, the combination of the close mounted flash with the insane colors you get from the D200 with its CCD sensor really are getting a bright and saturated look that to me just looks so incredible. When I photograph food, I'm always thinking about the end result, where that photo is going to end up, and that is obviously on social media. So I really want it to pop and grab someone's attention who is scrolling through the feed. The more I can make something jump out, the better for the client, and this rig just does that so well. For these shots, I had my ISO at 400, shutter at 125, aperture at f11, and the flash set to TTL. With these settings in this particular situation, it was basically just like shooting auto, which is really great because it means I can respond to the environment, focus on my composition, and then have that end result of the photo in mind to make sure that I am grabbing the most striking image possible. In a couple of the wider angle shots, it was a little bit underexposed, so I would open up to f8, and that was all I needed to really think about, so I could focus on the compositions. I think this setup is perfect for food, and seeing how happy I was and the client was with these results, I was very excited to use this again. So I decided to take it on another shoot, but this time for fashion, for a boutique that has a lot of really cool brands. They wanted to do like a high summer shoot, and it was with my absolute favorite model, Charlotte Rose Beers, who also runs a photography magazine, FYI, I'll link it below. I'm really excited to share these results with you. This was such a fun shoot. But before I do, I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you are like me and you're wanting a professional and distraction-free way to showcase either your personal photography or, like me, your commercial portfolio that you are looking to share and get hired off, then you need a website, and Squarespace is the perfect place to do it. You can select from plenty of photography-specific templates and have your website up and running in no time. Having a Squarespace website is genuinely one of the best things I have ever done for my photography career. I can send a link out to potential clients and they can see my body of work at a glance and know that I am serious about what I offer because I have a website. I love that the asset library keeps all my content in one place too, so when I want to switch things up, it's super easy. I know so many of you dream of selling prints or zines of your your work, and Squarespace has everything you need to set up an online store and take payments seamlessly. It really is a game changer for any creative existing online right now. So if you need a website or you are ready to renew your existing Squarespace website, you can head to www.squarespace.com/LucyLumen to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using code LucyLumen. That's so good, Charlotte. I want to buy the outfit. Okay, all right, 1, 2, 3, and then I'll come in a little bit closer. That looks really nice with the bracelet as well and the I've done a lot of shoots in the past couple of years, and I can honestly say this one was the most fun. I've had such an amazing response to it, and I've even booked more work off of it, which is always a really good sign. So I'm really excited to show you a little bit of BTS of this and talk through the photos. I think the Terry rig, which is what we are calling it now in our household, has really created that fashion editorial look that I love so much. The flash being so close to the lens has meant there's hardly any drop shadow, but I really don't think it's making Charlotte look flat or washed out either. I personally think that it looks like there was a whole team of people setting these shots up with elaborate lighting, but it was just me blasting away with this insane rig. And I don't mean to say that to sound arrogant at all. And I did have the help of my partner. I am only saying this to convey to you that you don't need like the latest and greatest gear, and you don't need like a million people to get shots that do look really striking, you know, really compelling and put together something that's really cool. I did have to be a bit mindful of settings because on this shoot I was outdoors, so I had to lower my ISO to 100, stop down to f13 at times, and use a shutter of 250. And then as we moved inside, open up to f8 to 11, use a shutter of around 125, and then bump my ISO up to 400. So not as point and shoot friendly as the restaurant gig, but as I moved through the shoot, I got the hang of what settings were going to work for each scene. I also want to mention that I think using TTL is a bit of a double-edged sword, as it can make the model blink, and dialing in the flash manually is probably a prudent approach, but that comes with a trade-off of being able to stay in the moment. And Charlotte, being a pro model, she can definitely work with flash and she was handling it fine, but something to keep in mind if you are working with someone who isn't as experienced. So with a couple of shoots under my belt with this Terry rig, I am very excited to try it out in different settings and scenarios and see how it performs. I've actually ordered the proper bracket for this off of eBay. It was pretty expensive, but this makeshift setup is a bit awkward, and I did get some weird cramps in my pinky finger having to hold this, and it put a lot of weight on my wrist. So it's definitely not an ergonomic setup, and I was shooting for quite a few hours when I did the shoot with Charlotte, so I think this bracket will definitely be more ergonomic and worthwhile if I'm going to be using this more often. Also, once when we were testing this rig out, the flash did move down and then block the lens a bit, so that is not ideal, and this proper bracket should prevent that from happening and also make it much easier to hold and access the portrait orientation shutter button on the grip, because I do tend to shoot predominantly in vertical because, again, people want things for social media, right? Obviously, there would be certain styles that this rig would be not appropriate, or it would just be unnecessary to use for, but I think it's really great for any kind of like fashion, lifestyle, editorial, food, which are all of the things that I shoot. I think it really works for that bright, punchy, popping look. The good thing is I can get this basically anywhere I am in any kind of light too. If I did want to bounce the flash or not use it at all, I could do that too. So it's really covering all conditions. And now a reward for all of my loyal viewers who watched to the end. Thank you so much. I very much appreciate you. If you watched my recent video, which you did because you're a loyal viewer, you'll know that I have been on the hunt for a new DSLR. We found one, we ordered it, and it came the other day. This is the D610. Keep an eye out because I will be releasing some videos on this probably in December, I think I'll do a first impressions. We have used it already, taken some photos, tried to put it through its paces a little bit. So I'll do a first review, and then I will probably do another kind of like photo walk or some kind of adventure with this camera. You guys had so many great recommendations in my searching for my next DSLR video. So we went through the comments and we decided to pull the trigger on this. This one is full frame and twice the megapixels as the D700. It is a CMOS sensor, not a CCD sensor like the D200 that I'm really in love with at the moment. So interested to kind of compare those, see if the CCD thing is really as good as everyone says it is. I think it maybe is. Just saying, love you, D200. But either way, I'm really excited to try this out. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the photos from the Terry rig. Let me know if you have any more questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one.